already announced this on Patreon a week or so ago. Yeah, I'm pregnant. Baby number 3. It's early in the second trimester now. I think this is the earliest I've ever announced a pregnancy. I think I normally wait till 20 or so weeks once I've had the anatomy ultrasound and know the gender and everything. I'm already showing. With the second one, I feel like it was the same as the first in terms of when I started showing. Whereas this one, I feel like I look already 20 something weeks pregnant. So decision, because this was another planned pregnancy, we decided last summer, well, partner's always been like 3 kids. And we talked early on before I got pregnant with my first kid about having 3 kids. But after baby number 2, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm pretty sure just 2 kids. And then last year, spring, summer, I started thinking, well, am I sure? Am I really sure just 2? Because I need to decide pretty quick here because I don't want to be in my mid-30s pregnant. So if I'm gonna have another kid, we should do it like now. So I told that to partner. Of course, he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, shut up. I gotta think about this. You're not helping. So I thought about it for a good month or so and then was like, all right, let's do it. And of course, maybe not of course, but with my other 2 pregnancies, I got off birth control and got pregnant immediately, first cycle. Even though I shouldn't have, of course, I'm assuming that this time it's going to be the same, which is very, very stupid. It's completely normal to go even a year before you get pregnant, a year of trying. My period starts again, and it was like, what? I'm not pregnant? What? Even though I know it's stupid, even though I know it's totally normal and doesn't mean anything at all is wrong, it still felt like, oh my God, I'm like infertile. And so we try again. And again, I start my period, and we try again, and again, I start my period. So it took 4 cycles until success, finally, which again is totally normal and not that long. But to me, it just felt terrible and very stressful, particularly the second cycle, because I was so sure. I was feeling nauseous already, which doesn't even really make sense that you would feel nauseous that early, but I was feeling nauseous and dizzy, and I just thought for sure, no. But of course, it was exciting when I finally did test positive. The first positive, the line was so incredibly faint. I could see it. Partner was like, I'm not sure. I was like, it's there. Don't even. I know it's there. And then the next day tested again, and then it was still faint, but like obviously there. Which of course I should talk about tests because I just put out the video talking about pregnancy tests not being vegan and said, with my first 2 I got pregnant early, so I didn't take that many tests. Well, yeah, this time I took a lot of tests. If I had known that they weren't vegan, I certainly would have taken fewer. And again, just mentally, it really doesn't make sense to test that early. Luckily, I haven't had an instance where I tested positive and then it turned out to be very likely registering a chemical pregnancy. That hasn't happened, but it's happened to a lot of women. So don't do that to yourself. Don't test early. At least wait until a day after your period, which I realize is very, very hard to do. It's very, very hard to wait. Of course, people say, oh, well, this is what we did differently when we finally got pregnant. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can't prove that that's what did anything. Although I will say we did start elevating afterwards, after sex, which is something we did with both of my other kids, but I didn't do this time with the first 3 cycles because I was like, it probably doesn't matter and I don't care. And then the last time I was like, okay, I'll do it. Maybe it'll make a difference. So maybe it made a difference. Who knows? It's also possible that I did actually succeed in the other cycles, or at least some of the other cycles, in terms of having the egg fertilized, but then it was rejected. Again, a chemical pregnancy that wasn't recognized. That's totally plausible as well. So who knows? But if you are struggling to get pregnant or just trying to get pregnant, starting now, it is like an easy, totally harmless thing to do, right? Elevating after and laying there for 10 to 15 minutes, that could increase your chance of success, so why not? So then the fun started. So my other 2 pregnancies I've talked about extensively on this channel. I really didn't have a lot of problems with nausea. The second pregnancy, I don't think I had virtually any nausea. I just was not hungry that first trimester and did not want to eat like anything. So I lost several pounds and then started gaining them at the start of the second trimester when I was hungry again. And then the first time I did have nausea, but I learned really quickly that if I just ate like first thing in the morning and had something, not carbs, not just crackers or something, but that protein fat smoothie I was drinking with like 1,000 calories, that would fix it and I would not feel nauseous at all. So that was great. Um, third time's the charm. I don't know. Everyone says that the third pregnancy is when shit gets real. The nausea was just constant. And from about 6 weeks until about 12 weeks was when it started to wane. And the worst part was I could not find anything to ameliorate it, to make it better. Like sometimes I would have a smoothie and that would help a little bit. Sometimes, no, it would make it infinitely worse. Sometimes sour things, orange juice, green apple, something like that would help. Other times, no. So I could just not find any one food or thing to do, eating in the morning, something to help it. And so, yeah, for those 6 weeks or so, it was just nauseous in the morning until nighttime, until around 7 p.m. at night, I would finally start to get relief. I'm not even gonna lie, it was awful. And luckily it wasn't, I wasn't throwing up or anything. I did have one experience. It's just that constant low level, mild to moderate nausea. I did start taking B6. That was like the first thing I think my doctor said to me. That was just like, if you're nauseous, B6. Maybe it helped a little, but again, I was still just constantly nauseous, maybe just slightly less so. So I don't know, but the history of B6 is really interesting, actually, a combination of B6 and Unisom, the doxylamine. It's been tested so extensively on pregnant women. It's considered like one of the safest things or combination of things that you can take during pregnancy, although its history is very different. So back in like the 80s, I think, there was a drug combining the two. But then there were tons of reports of birth defects and lawsuits against the company. So the company stopped selling it. And now we know that that's all bullshit. And again, now it's one of the safest things you can take during pregnancy, which is why you can't just trust people reporting, problems after getting a vaccine, something like that, right? It doesn't mean it's true. Just because someone says, oh, I took B6 and then my baby was born with this, doesn't mean they have anything to do with one another. So again, nothing worked for the nausea. I just kind of ate all the time. I didn't have, well, that's not true. I had lots of food aversions. I don't know why I'm saying I didn't have food aversions. I could not drink coffee, which I think is new. I think I drank coffee with my second and my first pregnancy. I didn't have any problem with that. No, could not do coffee, which was great because I was super, super fatigued. I was with my other pregnancies as well. And then not being able to have coffee. Yeah, that was pretty rough. Just all the smells, everything. I mean, I already have issues with foods and smells and aftertaste. This was just on a whole nother level. I think I lived on green apples and peanut butter and Pringles and fruit snacks. Did not take my prenatal nearly as much as I should because, man, every time I did, I just felt terrible after and even more nauseous. So I just had to avoid it, which not good. Did I mention the weight gain? Yeah, I was just eating constantly. So this is the first time I've had first trimester weight gain. I think I gained like 10 pounds because I was just constantly eating lots of processed stuff because that's the stuff that didn't really bother me, just like chips and fruit snacks. But I think now I'm at the point where I usually am in the pregnancy. I'm 140 now, again, early in the second trimester. I think that's what I usually am because I haven't gained any weight in like a month. Whereas it was flipped in the other pregnancies. I wouldn't gain anything or I'd lose weight the first trimester and then gain a bunch the first few weeks of the second trimester. Congestion is another new one and that has finally stopped, which is really nice. Every time I would lay down at night to go to sleep, after a few minutes, I think my right nostril would just get all clogged up. This is very common during pregnancy, but I've never experienced that before. So yeah, that sucked. Glad that's gone. Hope it doesn't come back. Oh, another thing that made those 6 weeks even worse, and it was so stupid on my part, but I stopped taking my antidepressants. Again, I stopped taking them before we started trying or while we were trying. And I did this with baby number 2 as well, and then had to get back on them, I think sometime during the second trimester, because I was just not doing well mentally. I was really struggling. And for some reason, I just wanted to try again. And I had one of the worst depressive episodes. I mean, by far the worst I've had in literally years during those 6 to 12 weeks, where I was also nauseous and also extremely fatigued and terrible. Would not recommend. Needless to say, I'm back on antidepressants, feeling much better now. Overall, I don't know if I've said, but the nausea is gone. Well, yeah, I said it started to go away at 12 weeks. I'm not nauseous at all. I can eat all the foods I was eating before, no problem. I can't eat a lot. I have to already limit the amount I eat at one time. And I feel like when I have just like a normal size meal, food just sits there for hours. It just feels like nothing is happening. It feels like the food is still in its whole form. Just in my stomach, just sitting there. It really sucks. So that's not fun. But other than that, I feel normal. I feel I'm getting a lot of sleep at night still. I'm still pretty fatigued and often needing a nap during the day, even though I'm getting like 9 hours of sleep at night. So what are you going to do? But no nausea, no weird food aversions. Cravings, the only thing I'm really craving are green apples. I don't know what it is. I love green apples, specifically the little organic ones from Kroger. They have a bag of the Simple Truth organic tiny green apples, and they are like the perfect mix of sweet and sour for me. Oh my God, I could eat 10 of those a day. Breast pain, I forgot how bad it is early on, because now I always have some amount of breast pain before my period starts, and I just thought that was how it was with pregnancy, but no, it is so much worse. I forgot how bad it is. That's pretty much gone. So I didn't work out, I think, at all for those 6 weeks. I tried a couple times, and it's like even just walking hurt so bad. So yeah, that didn't happen. But now I'm working out almost every day. I can even do some jumping jacks and shit. It's awesome. Oh, I mentioned Unisom earlier. I am already taking Unisom. That's one of the things with this pregnancy, is that everything is starting earlier. I took Unisom, I think, with both of my other pregnancies, but I didn't start that until, I want to say, like third trimester, when I was really having trouble sleeping. Well, I already take that every night. I take half of a tablet, because if I don't have any problem getting to sleep, but I will wake up at some point during the middle of the night and I will just stay awake for like 2 to 3 hours. It's ridiculous. And I wake up so easily, even the tiniest sound, I wake up and I'm just fully awake. It's terrible. So I've been taking half a tablet of Unisom, and that has stopped that. I don't seem to have built up a tolerance yet, so I'm sure I will. And then what am I going to do? I don't know. Haven't felt baby kicking yet. It's about that time when women start feeling that, maybe. But I think even with my second pregnancy, I don't think I felt anything until like 22 weeks. It's always pretty late for me. The ultrasound, I did have an ultrasound around, I think I was 13 to 14 weeks. And it was so clear. It was the clearest ultrasound I have had. I think they had like a really good machine too. And just so many good pictures, and baby was like moving so much, but the technician was really good and still able to get like a lot of good pictures. I even got some little video on loop. I guess that's it. Yeah, I mean, everything, it's so, that's the worst part, I think, about pregnancy, is not really being able to talk about it when you're at your worst, right? The first trimester, for many of us, that's when it's the worst and you're really just feeling terrible, and you can't really explain to people. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but most of us don't want to talk about it yet. It's still so early, and so you just kind of have to keep all that to yourself, and man, it sucks. But of course, we are excited, and I'm excited to see how big I get, because I swear I feel so much bigger than the other pregnancies. So, oh my God, kind of nervous about that. Nervous about the pelvic groin pain as well, because that got pretty bad the last pregnancy, the second pregnancy, during that third trimester, especially once the baby dropped. So I'm a little worried about that. Everything's looser, everything's kind of worse once you've had this many kids, this many pregnancies. So yeah, I'm a little nervous. But as far as being nervous for the baby or for, labor or anything like that, no, I think I still was a little bit with my last kid, but with this one, I mean, it's like you can't help but feel like, yeah, I've done this before. Whatever. And I will say it's kind of nice. I don't know, is it? For a few weeks there, even just like a week and a half ago, I was still feeling like, am I pregnant? Right? When all the horrible symptoms are gone and you're feeling so much better, you just have those like couple weeks where you're like, man, am I still pregnant? I don't really feel like it, because you're not, maybe you're showing a little bit, but not that much. You don't feel kicky or anything yet. So it really is that kind of weird period where you're like, am I? And now I'm like, oh yeah. Yes. I've got like a little basketball here already. And also doing certain movements, like laying on the floor and doing bridges. When I go up and it like tightens right there where the womb is, where the baby is, you just feel that tightening. It's like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. Have I had a hair here this whole time? Okay. Looking forward to my hair. Is it already thicker? Because man, it gets so nice and thick. I don't think it's thicker yet. I think it's towards the end of the second trimester sometime when it gets real thick, especially if I have bangs. Oh, they're just so beautiful, because my hair is normally, it's kind of thin, it's just not, I don't know, it's not thick and luscious and beautiful. And then I'm going to lose a bunch after I have the baby. Oh. As far as content for the channel, I don't think I normally do a whole lot of pregnancy related stuff. It's mostly just what I ate today's while I'm pregnant. So really not much changes. If you guys have any specific questions or topics, things you want me to talk about, I guess pregnancy, nutrition, stuff like that, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you want to subscribe, obviously. Click the bell if you want to be notified when I upload. Patreon.com/unnaturalvegan is where you can go to support the channel. Thank you so much to all my patrons over there. And I will have a new video soon. And the flowers, I brought the flowers back because I didn't feel like putting up a whole another thing, and it's been a while, so. Oh, I didn't mention my kids' reactions. So they've known since early on. I just went ahead and told them immediately, and then realized, oh wait, my 5-year-old's going to be telling everyone that I'm pregnant, and just loudly, at the grocery store, just like, hey, mommy, so when the baby's here, stuff like that. So I had to be like, okay, maybe don't talk about it when we're out. And they were very confused, like, why wouldn't you talk about it? But yeah, they seem excited whenever I ask them. They say they're excited and excited to help take care of the baby. But who knows, right? We'll see. I will say that's been very nice, especially during a pandemic, having 2 kids who, for the most part, play really well with each other. It's, in some ways, has been a lot easier than just having one, again, especially during a pandemic, especially like when I need to make dinner, right? That was really, really hard when I just had my 5-year-old who was 2 something at the time. That was really hard because every time I tried to make dinner, they were like, come play with me, come hang out with me. So yeah, it's been really nice having 2 kids that can keep each other busy. But 3 is a whole nother thing. Oh man.